Hello, everybody. That was weird.
Hello.
Hello.
Gonna keep on rolling with
Okay.
it. Welcome to the Book Return, Alpha and Building Library podcast. I'm Zach, the information manager.
I'm Brittany, the library director.
And I'm Chloe, one of the clerks.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Not
good.
bad, not bad.
What an episode we have in store today.
Ooh.
Everybody's favorite topic. We're covering some more nonfiction today.
That's right.
Delve into more of the 300s.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
so-
362-ish.
Yeah.
363.
As everybody knows, true crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to
Fake crime.
fake crime, which is in our. We got a lot of mystery books.
We
Yeah.
do.
Might talk about some of
Horror.
those today. Horror, sci-fi,
Sci-fi. A lot of series, a lot of genres can have crime.
romance.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
last week we took a personality quiz to see which fictional person we most represented. But we did
Yes.
kind of a
Short version of
yeah,
that.
just so we can get to the meat of it.
Yeah. So then today we all took the exhaustive version. Is what they
Yes.
call
It
it.
was literally called the exhaustive
was.
version.
140,
Oh my
140
gosh.
questions.
It was, but it didn't take that long.
No, it didn't.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, and
We have our true results now.
We do.
we do. A lot more emojis than I was expecting.
Same,
Yeah.
It
right?
was kind of
But they were fun. It
They were fun.
It was like, yeah.
It's
I am
like-
not a clown.
Awful
A clown? No. The witch?
I'm an
Yeah,
alien.
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
I got an alien in a clown.
I had an alien
Weird.
in one of them too.
Interesting.
Maybe that was that one, but
Yeah.
I like attributed that to being comedy or science fiction.
Oh,
That makes sense.
interesting.
So-
Yeah,
Okay.
That does make sense.
Okay.
That's kind of
Yeah.
how my brain processed that.
Yeah.
Makes more sense because mine was like a horse and a spaceship.
Oh, I didn't
right in
get
the
that
middle.
one.
I don't know if I got
guess-
that one either.
I guess men
funny.
are in between the two.
Men? Oh, between
a horse and
an
a
alien
spaceship?
and
Yeah.
a horse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
guess so.
But I guess Western
Where
or
are
sci-fi
women?
makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
From, well, Venus.
Okay.
Book. We've all read it.
No.
But yeah, this is going to be way more accurate.
Apparently.
I
Yeah,
would-
mine is
yeah.
like, it says
Sounds
it's an
like it.
80% match.
Mine was an 84.
Oh.
So, yeah.
79%.
Oh,
Okay.
So as the Duchess of Questionnaire, Chloe, you want to go first?
I can. My best match was Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which one is that
Is that
one?
the
He's the
little one-eyed guy?
Yes, the like
Okay.
smaller one-eyed guy who's
Okay.
very nervous and likes to dress up as a woman.
Okay.
I was like,
sounds
I
like you.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a control freak and just nervous. I was like,
amazing.
I get that. He's
Yeah.
fun.
You got an 80%?
80%.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got Marty Mikalski.
I thought that was going to be Marty
So
McFly.
did
and
I.
I
Well,
was like,
not I only answered one question that I played guitar. It was like Marty McFly.
Who's Marty Mikulski?
He
Mikulski?
is the nerdy comic relief from Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, okay.
oh.
So
Haven't seen it, but you love that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very hardcore, like Joss Whedon.
Who
nerd
plays
man.
him?
Okay.
I don't know his name, but here's what he looks like. I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Oh,
but
okay. Kind of looks a
he looks
little bit
familiar.
like a Adrian Brody off Sheen.
he does.
He looks British,
Very much not British.
but he looks British.
He does.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that he's been in the Joss Whedon circles because he's got that vibe and cadence.
Okay.
Very like Xander / every other nerdy male that Joss Whedon has
Sure.
written, but very funny. I'll take it.
Cool.
Okay.
No spoilers.
Yeah. No spoilers.
I had an 84%.
Holy cow.
And my character was Colonel Jack O'Neill from Stargate SG-1.
That sounds like right up your alley. It's kind of perfect.
I wasn't mad at it. Okay, good.
Is he like the logical space captain? I guess you can just say captain.
He's not completely logical. Sometimes he flies off the handle, which is fine.
Do that logically.
Because same. But very matter of fact,
Okay.
and not a lot of room for nonsense.
Fair.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there too many characters on Stargate that are like comic relief? Like, let's.
There aren't any. There is some banter and humor, but not really any comedy.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. My only experience with Stargate is the Kurt Russell action figure that I still have.
I had that also, and I may still have it somewhere as well.
I think I do too.
That movie like blew my mind when I went and watched it. I was in like 9th grade when it came out.
Is this a separate thing from like Star Trek?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Different word, different show.
I didn't know if it's like Star
Different
Trek
premise.
Stargate, because there's
Yeah.
like Star Trek the new generation, Star Trek
Oh,
whatever.
no.
No. Yeah.
Deep
Oh,
Space Nine. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Stargate is a show based on ancient mythologies.
Oh, interesting.
And space exploration
Okay.
through a device that was discovered on the Giza Plateau in 1924
Interesting.
that takes travelers via wormhole to other systems
Okay.
connected by other Stargates.
This does sound familiar. I feel like we've talked about it.
It's a literal Stargate.
Yeah.
Okay.
You walk.
A gate through the stars.
Yep.
Cool.
It just takes you wherever you want to go.
It's a great
I'm
show. I
guessing.
love it.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It
Well,
had a great cast, really, really good cast, and a lot of fun. Did a lot of introspective as far as kind of social construct episodes. They were able to explore that really nicely because of other cultures and
Yeah,
stuff. So
that's cool.
makes sense. Jared told me I couldn't watch it because it was too much like Deep Space Nine. So I couldn't watch Charmed. Couldn't watch that.
sorry, I disagree with Jer respectfully.
Like you don't have to be respectful. Like, just totally limited to my media consumption, which is good, I guess.
Is it?
I didn't need to watch more TV.
Maybe he did
That's
weed
fair.
out some of the bad stuff, but
He did.
it
a lot
sounded
of
like
them.
maybe in that case you missed a good one.
Yeah, here and there. I've heard nothing but good about Stargate and Battlefield
Ooh, BSG.
Earth. Yep. Battlestar Galactica. Not Battlefield Earth. That's the
John
L. Ron
Travolta.
Hubbard. Yeah. Johnny Dreads.
I think we were okay missing that one.
Yeah. One of the worst things of
Not
all time.
good.
Just like
Cry.
Crime, nice. I like it. Chloe
Very
knew
good.
where you were going with that
Yeah.
before
Did.
you even got there.
I was gonna say murder.
Murder.
Oh.
A lot of
Crime?
the true crime is about murder.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but a lot
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I mean, any crime that has happened,
Is a true
true
crime.
crime. There's some in here that I did some research on, like some of the sillier true crime cases, but apparently those are hard to come by because it's like, it thinks when I write in silly, it's like grisly.
Oh.
That's not good.
So I had to do some deep dives on the dark web to uncover it
Interesting.
myself.
I bet the silly ones haven't been as thoroughly investigated and covered.
Yeah, and like, not gonna really talk about my true feelings on anything.
What is
As
this
you know,
caveat?
you know me. But a lot of the
all
ones that I
fake.
was finding that were like sillier, it was on a website called Police One, and I didn't realize that. But it was like written by police departments that are like, look at this bozo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He said I don't want to go to jail, so I ripped him out of the car and threw him
Oh,
to the
that's
ground.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff like that.
that's not
Gotcha,
really
gotcha.
silly.
Not so silly.
Yeah.
But the ones that were good, like I did more research on, and you guys have no idea how much crime there's out there.
I would guess
Right.
most people think there's more crime than there is. Actually.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
It's funny because as I was doing research for this, it said that by like 12 or 13 percentage points, calls to the police stations went up as true crime podcasts became
wow.
more
That
popular.
makes sense.
It does make
We're
sense.
all looking for something
Yep.
everywhere. I'm curious, like, how much of those were legitimate? Like, were people actually noticing real things more, or are they just more paranoid?
Yeah.
It
Probably
it was
paranoid,
paranoia,
yeah.
and there was a whole blurb about it, and even
so
people
interesting.
who are true crime like fans and spend a lot of time in the true crime world find themselves to be more fearful
Yeah.
of what could happen.
That makes
So-
sense.
Yes, it does. It's like there's one guy that walked by my house, and then next day I know he's living on my walls. It's like it's gonna stick in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Frogging.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole show on it.
Yeah. The first episode was good, and then it's not that good after that.
Yeah, it's the same. It's just people living in walls. It's scary.
Yeah.
But if you're living alone, you just listen to the terrifying podcast or just watched,
Right.
I don't know, just read Helter Skelter. It's not really scary, but you get in that mindset.
Right.
Of like anything could happen at any time.
Yeah. And the whole true crime genre kind of exploded in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's always been there.
Want a little bit of a background?
Yeah.
So the first true crime like regular publication was published in 1924, and it was the
Whoa.
True Detective magazine.
I think I've heard of that.
And it was published regularly, and it focused on real crimes and how they were solved. So lots of, as you talked about, kind of like police stories, and actual like private detectives would give their stories, kind of like Dr. Watson did for Sherlock Holmes. And the covers were very pulpy, so lots of women being menaced by shadows, and
my
like
gosh.
one arm with a gun, and I went down like a whole rabbit hole. It was a lot of fun.
That's kind of amazing.
But in 1 year, True Detective, and I can't remember which year it was, but accounted for 2 million editions sold in 1 year. So
Wow.
that is a
Wow.
lot.
That's very
huge.
popular.
Yeah.
I guess I understand it. The year before it is released, you have nothing like it.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they immediately go like as sensationalized as possible.
Yeah.
They know it's gonna sell.
Right.
Sure.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The drama.
Yeah. Jack the Ripper's still talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure there was some blurbs on him in the
Oh, no doubt.
True Detective magazine.
Yep, yep.
That's
Yeah.
cool. It's way earlier than I would have thought.
Same. Yeah, I've read like the Romans even like sensationalized it and stuff.
Sure.
It's just kind of
Interesting.
like a fun little community thing. Death is
Did not
around
know
us.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
let's make it
Let's
fun.
make fun of it.
True.
Yeah. Do you guys read much true crime? You guys watch it?
Absolutely none. No real true crime.
That's fair.
Although I guess I am listening to a podcast series about the Salem witch trials, so I don't know if that can be considered true crime or
Yeah.
not.
I don't know.
I mean, I would say
Crimes
so.
against humanity, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Definitely
That's
was.
The only ones that I've read where it's like usually shelved under like history, like King Leopold's Ghost. Is like,
yeah, sure.
It's like a historical account, but like he's doing a lot of crimes.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like lump it in with true crime because that's like a guy with black gloves.
Yeah, it's
on a
more
security cam.
typically like not like political war crimes. It's more
Sure.
like interpersonal crime.
Yeah,
Typically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
I know that type of stuff would like keep me up at night, and I
Yeah.
would be one of those people that would
Seeing shadows
just,
everywhere.
and not so much worried about myself, but more my kids.
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
totally
that
fair.
I try to steer clear of stuff that I know might affect how I look at what I allow my children to do every day.
That makes sense.
But I do delve in a little bit into it, and we can talk about it in different ways, but like here and there, a little smattering, but not like
Full
as
immersion.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not as a habit.
yeah,
Right.
that's fair. I feel like with the advent of the internet, it's become way too easy to just like take in true crime en masse.
Yes.
It's like they're
Like I watched Zodiac when it came out.
hey,
Pretty good.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I like Jake
It
Gyllenhaal.
was a good movie. I liked it.
Isn't there another? There's another Zodiac movie that came out like the same year.
I
It's
think
like,
we
Ted
talked
Cruz's
about biography
that
movie?
on this podcast.
yes, everybody knew him back then.
Oh my
Little
gosh.
Ted out of Big Texas.
Oh my gosh. But I think there is.
Yeah, they're because Zodiac was so huge that a small studio was like, let's
Yes.
release Zodiac, like a CK or something.
Yeah, something weird. I think we put it or I think you put it in the artwork for an episode or something.
I think
maybe.
I probably did,
Really
but it was
early
just
on.
horrifically bad.
Yeah.
So since I don't know, as long as I can remember, it's been the sensationalized and just over the top. And now, like you get like hardcore firsthand experience with
Which is insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the true crime, or there's the crime scene investigation subreddit and stuff that's just like, here's a bunch of horrifying images.
And
Yeah.
right, here are the actual pictures.
Yeah.
Right. Which,
Yeah,
oh.
I saw some. I did not look at them, but someone posted the link the other day of what's that girl that just got out of prison who killed her mother, and there was Munchausen's involved.
Gypsy Rose.
Her, those crime scene photos were released, and
Yeah.
I obviously, like I said, did not go look at them because
No.
I don't need that. But they were talking about how horrific they were, and there they were for everyone to see.
Not surprising.
I have not seen the pictures. There's been a few shows about her. I watched The Act, was a Hulu one about her. It was pretty good.
I heard that
It's
that was good.
horrifying. Yeah, it's a very sad story.
Yeah, I read the Facebook messages like before everything went down. Like that was enough.
Yeah,
I've seen
sure.
some rough things, and that's one that stuck with me.
It's like there's no one like good in that story, really.
No.
It's just
No.
really depressing.
It is very depressing.
Yeah.
But it brings to light something that I saw, that people question the ethics of true crime and the true crime genre, because there are no laws about anyone having to give consent for any of their information to be released. So they consider it a violation of consent and privacy of the victims and their families, and like no one is safe from it. So I hadn't thought about it until I was just reading some of that today.
Yeah.
What do you guys think
Yeah.
about that?
It's hard to even consider without being on that side of things.
Sure.
Which it's just got to be such a foreign thing.
Yeah.
Like your life is already uprooted by like tragedy and trauma, and it's like the rest of your life is kind of dictated by how it's displayed in the media.
Yeah. I kind of was very into true crime for a while when I was in college. I think because I was like living on my own, more scared already. So I was like, let's
Make it worse?
make it way worse.
And I'm in Detroit.
And and I ran into a lot of that, and there's a lot of podcasts that I like stopped listening to because I was like, this does feel really gross.
Yeah.
So I mostly try to only like watch or read things that are, or watch or listen to things that are like the victim is or their family is a part of it, and like being involved, or everyone involved has been dead for a long time.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That's mostly what I stick to now, because otherwise it's just such a gray area that you can't really know if you're like contributing to re-traumatizing these people, and I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah. What's the huge podcast with like the three dudes? I keep thinking My Favorite Murder. That's not it.
But that's huge as well. That's
it is.
2 women.
Yeah. And Last Podcast on the Left,
Oh, yes.
which I listened to a little bit of that
Pretty
just because.
bad, I
yeah,
think.
very bad. Just because they had covered some really interesting cases that don't have a whole lot of like coverage. But the whole appeal of it is like, dude, bro, let's make off-color jokes about
Yeah.
these actual victims. That,
It's pretty gross.
yeah.
Yeah.
Families are probably listening to the episode.
And even if they aren't, it's just really in really poor taste, I think.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say My Favorite Murder has a lot of similar problems, I think.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's their goal though.
Yeah.
Like you're coming into
Shocking.
this listening knowing that you're going to hear us make fun of these people, and that was like number 2 on the list of
People
top
love those
40
shows.
true crime
Crazy.
podcasts, and I was like, oh my word.
Yeah. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And both of them have had so many like scandals that I would think would end the podcast.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It made me think about the Murdaugh murders that happened a couple of years ago, and how like the one son that is left is under such intense scrutiny.
Yeah.
And even if he was connected to that murder of the college student, so like society has already judged him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his life will never be the same because of like the true crime
yeah.
craze.
Yeah.
The court of public opinion is like bigger than ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if the creators of these podcasts feel like they can get a decent audience,
Yeah.
it's like we're not super concerned about the reality of the situation.
No, just like what's the best story?
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
asking the questions.
Yeah, and they like phrase things as like allegedly, but they like have put such a slant on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of irresponsible.
It is.
I want to say, but I wonder if podcasts like that They know that they're going to get. It's obviously this. They know they're going to get a much bigger audience if they're like, you don't have to like true crime as long as you watch Family Guy and you like those jokes.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
do those to real victims.
Yeah,
And then My
not
Favorite
for
Murder
me.
is just kind of like, is it like Wine Mom kind of like just taking a step back and it's very casual.
Did you just say wine mom?
Oh yeah, let's
That's
get
like
on our
their
pajamas.
vibe. Like
yeah.
they're like
So okay,
cozy women.
side story because yesterday, as I was picking up my daughter from school, there was I assume she is one of said wine moms because she had a T-shirt
yeah.
on, and it was a hand holding a wine glass, and it said, "When I sip, you sip, we sip."
Oh my god.
Dying, and then I was singing that song in my head for the next 10 minutes, and I was like, "Oh man,
oh,
sorry."
What
Very funny.
choices do you have to make in life to where you're like, I'm a
is
wine
my-
mom and I want
yeah.
everybody to
And
know.
I'm gonna wear this to school to
Yeah.
pick up my first grader.
it's like
Bare
a
feet.
coping with humor thing.
Yeah,
but,
yep, yep,
but
yep.
like, oh,
Yeah.
the line between that and alcohol is.
Oh, but it's fun and cute.
Oh,
Can't watch Phil. My aunt used to be a wine mom. She would stay on watching Phil Donahue.
oh,
Phil
Phil
Donahue.
Donahue. Ah.
He's dead now.
Brief. Yeah, I was gonna say briefly dead, but I meant to say recently.
Yeah.
Briefly dead. Yeah.
He's back.
He's back.
He's like Jimmy Carter, who's 100th, October 1st.
Oh, they're coming up.
He
Yep.
has
To
one
celebrate.
goal in life, which he has very, very clearly stated. Which I won't state here, but he is holding out for the ability to be able to do one thing.
Build his own coffin.
No, but
Something like that. It's gonna
something.
build-
Exercising one of his civic duties.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I see. I think.
He says
The V word.
his goal is to stay alive long enough to be able to vote in November.
That makes
Yep.
sense.
That.
You can do it, Jimmy.
You can, I know, right?
Yeah. Feel
We
bad.
got you.
Yeah.
So it's like that's like me saying I'm going to stay alive until 2097. That's what it is.
Oh my God.
It's like let's see who wins.
oh, that's. So
He wins
funny.
because he's built like 1 billion homes.
Yeah, he's done a
He's
lot.
helpful homes, Habitat for Humanity homes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. The
insane.
turn was so fast, at least from my perspective.
Yeah,
like building
probably
homes to not
to
waking
his-
up every day. Yeah.
because he was less quick for his family.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Don't put that out there.
We don't have to talk about Jimmy Carter every.
We can like
It's becoming like a segment.
Jimmy Watch.
Jimmy,
Right.
is he
right.
awake today?
Check out the website. I did make a website.
What?
That's is Jimmy awake? And randomly,
Is this in poor taste?
Did you do this
I like
He's
Jimmy
alive.
Carter.
on work time?
No, but I check it every now and then.
Have you checked it today?
No, I have not checked it today. There's like
Check it after.
15 tabs, so you can click on, and most
It's
of them
amazing.
don't do anything.
Oh,
But some
but you made a website.
I did.
Good job.
Yeah.
Mentally ill. It's fine. Your turn, Jimmy. Okay, true crime. That's where we're at.
Crime.
So,
we're at.
yeah, the oversaturating every market.
Every market, books, documentaries, film, TV, podcasts, you name it,
Yes.
there is true crime.
Yeah,
My favorite is like a Reddit to Wikipedia deep dive.
yes. There's some
Yeah.
good, like, actual subreddits, not dedicated to true crime and poor taste. There's like the RBI,
Yep.
which is the Reddit Bureau of Investigation.
Ah.
Not
The
runs
kind of,
better
like,
than.
Oh, is that baseball?
Baseball, yeah.
They try to like help people who have a mystery they can't figure out. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
And they have been successful a couple times too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the times.
they have been very wrong sometimes.
I
too.
mean,
That's
Like,
also
to be
true.
fair.
To, like,
Okay.
Yeah, a criminal point almost.
Yeah, the whole Boston Marathon
That's
bombing, that was rough because they were like, these shoes look familiar. I know who did it. And then there was a huge witch hunt. He was
Yeah.
like, I was not in the same state.
Only one person can buy a pair of shoes.
Yep.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
right.
Like that guy, I think he's still like going through stuff of people like harassing him.
Yikes.
It's getting,
Court of public opinion.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's very dangerous. Very
It's very
dangerous.
How do you think true crime really differs, like depending on the media? Like, obviously, documentaries. I think documentaries and podcasts you might be able to lump into each other, but
They're more sensational than books, probably.
Documentaries, though, you have the visual element that you don't have with podcasts.
yes.
So you can, like, visualize who the perpetrator of the crime
Yeah.
may have been.
Yeah.
You can visualize the victim, crime scene, that type of thing.
Sure.
Podcast, I feel like you have to be a better storyteller
Certainly.
Yeah.
to
Very
be able
true.
to keep people's
You
attention.
have to have
Yeah.
a really tight script.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah, what's her name from Serial? Like, very well done.
Yeah, I've never listened to Serial, I don't think.
It's a little problematic, I think, but still
That's-
worth
that was
listening
number
to.
one on the list.
Oh,
Not
wow.
surprising.
Like the number one most popular.
I haven't heard
It's
anything
huge.
as egregious about that one as like Last Podcast in the Left or My
No.
Favorite Murder.
Like, I think the only irresponsible thing there is you could tell that, like, her mind was made up, even though she's a journalist. She's coming at it from a specific angle.
Sure.
She does try to, like, prove all of her theories wrong just to make sure, but still, it's gonna, your own
good
voice is gonna
journalism.
creep into,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that in journalism in general. And like to a
Yeah.
certain extent, I don't think you should hide your angle.
No.
Like you should be clear about where you're coming from, but try
Yeah,
to be objective
absolutely.
At the same
Let
point.
people know
Yeah.
what your
Yeah.
like
Your slant
personal
is.
bias or slant is. Yep.
Exactly. Don't belittle those that you disagree with.
Right.
I think documentaries run the risk of becoming more problematic, maybe.
Because they can use those visuals
Yes.
and be like, look how sad their family is.
Yep.
Doesn't it make you want to keep watching?
Yeah. Look at this security footage. Doesn't he look suspicious?
Yes. And they can do editing tricks to make the suspicious
Yes.
person even more suspicious.
Yeah. And if you're just casually watching,
Yeah.
like, your brain is immediately going to go, like, jump into, like, oh, he's guilty. Let's
Yes.
see how he
Because
dies.
they're implying that.
Yeah.
They want you to make that assumption.
I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah. And giving you implicit answers.
Is it making a murder?
Yeah, I never watched that, but I know what you're talking about.
First season was quite good,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of tell that the creators of the documentary were coming from the angle of, like, they're innocent.
Who was it about?
Stephen something. It's been a long time since I've watched it, but a woman gets murdered and her remains end up being discovered in the fire pit at this guy's house.
Oh my god.
Like, he's not a great guy, but a lot of the evidence points to, like,
A setup.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The most upsetting part of it, though, was he's got a 13-year-old son. Well, he was 13 then. And the police, and apparently this was a huge problem, and still kind of is, the police interrogated the 13-year-old kid who was mentally disabled. And they kind of, like, very cleverly got
Oh,
him
my
to
gosh.
admit to doing it. And, like, they released the footage, and the footage is in the documentary. But you can tell his name is Brendan. And he was like, okay, can I go home and watch wrestling now? They're like,
'Cause he
we
just-
got you.
He just is like, I'll just say whatever they want me
Yeah.
to say because he doesn't understand how serious it is. Yeah.
And there's one point
That's
where
really
it's not
messed up.
going the way that the detective wants it to go. And he's like, you can just say it, and it's going to make everything so much easier. Like, we
It's
all
such a
know.
lie.
And he's like, okay.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so he might still be in jail, I think.
Feels like coercion.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not right.
Which I guess there's some laws that,
Allow it.
yeah.
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 Yep.
This is horrible.
Yep.
Just kind of, it's very gray. Well, not, they say it's gray, but
Right. It
doesn't
feels
feel-
black and white.
Yeah, it does.
In this case, at least.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with intent. You intend to deceive that person
Yeah.
into thinking one thing when it's actually something else. Yeah.
Yep. But then from the outside, you have to make it look like you're actually doing detective work and that you're getting an actual confession.
Not that you just
Right.
decided this person
Yeah.
is who did it, because that makes my job easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a dastardly talent.
Ugh.
Interestingly, there is a series on Peacock called Dr. Death that stars Joshua Jackson.
Is it about Dr. Dunch?
Well, it is based on, which I didn't know until today, based on the Dr. Death podcast.
It's a good podcast.
And
was.
it deep dives into many different, like, shady doctors.
Okay.
So that has been like a translation from one medium to another.
That's cool.
And
Very
it
cool.
is not presented as nonfiction, so it is presented as fiction. So
That's
it's
interesting.
inspired
Okay.
by. But I thought that was interesting because I've seen it like on Peacock and I've scrolled by it a ton of times, and now
Yeah.
I might watch an episode just
Yeah.
to kind of see what it's about.
The podcast was upsetting.
It was.
Was
But it was
it?
very
Yeah.
good. It was very infuriating because there's just like so many places where this guy should have been stopped.
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot of details, but yeah, I only watched the season about Dr. Dunch.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing that I really remember, and that was the only season that I listened to as well. Like you get the impression that he's a like a spine surgeon, and he had killed way too many people, or just like horrifically disfigured them or left them immobilized.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yikes.
wow, he's a criminal mastermind. But the more you listen, the more it's like, oh, he just is a bad at his job.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like
And
there should have been so many places where they were like, he should not be continuing to do this surgery.
yeah.
He did this like back surgery on 33 people and just completely botched it every time. It didn't work at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever. Just
God
kept
bless him.
doing it.
Kept trying.
Yeah.
But
Practice makes perfect, right?
That's kind of the vibe. Like he's just like, well, I'll get him next time. It's terrible.
there
terrible
has to
person.
be
Yikes.
an episode title called Malpractice Makes Perfect. If there's not,
So good.
I'm going to eat my head.
There you go. That's good.
There must be. That's awesome.
Has to be. Very upsetting podcast, though.
I would watch the show. I didn't know that existed. That's
Same.
cool.
Like, kind of came away from it being more angry at just like our healthcare system by letting
Yeah.
them
Sure.
slip between the cracks
Exactly.
every
Sure.
single time.
Yeah. So many places where people should have been like, this is a red flag or like 100 red flags.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he faked some of his medical training as well.
Definitely.
perhaps.
Yikes.
He just
Yeah.
figured he'd learn on the job.
Pretty
Which is
much.
bad when you're a surgeon.
Just kind of a con man.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Also, who's hiring him without checking his actual
Right?
credentials?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Don't believe everything on a resume.
But I know they go into that like in depth, and it was really interesting, like how he managed to get
yeah, I
around
don't
it.
remember.
It was less like intricate and like meticulous than you would think.
He had
Just
a phone
fumbling
call
through.
that went to his buddy who answered, and
Oh yeah, he definitely went to
like
medical
like
school.
Bobby,
like Bobby. Perfect.
the Bobby Singer of the doctor's group of friends. Yeah.
This is a supernatural thing.
Supernatural reference, sorry.
I figured you guys looked at each other and I was like, I know what this is.
It's so good.
I get
I love Bobby.
It's episode 1.
Yeah, you've seen 2 episodes now.
I have.
Ooh, which
No
ones?
Bobby, though. The
1
first
or 2?
Yep. Starting.
I told him you should start at the beginning.
Yeah.
yeah. Slowly getting through it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what episode 3 is, but
We'll
sure
find
it's
out.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find
Report
out.
back.
Like, it is interesting though. There was another, not really true crime, but there was the Looming Tower, which was the Lawrence Wright book about the September 11th attacks. Really good book. There's a show on Hulu starring Alec Baldwin. That's like the fiction, not fictionalized, but it's like a narrative version of the nonfiction book.
Interesting.
Heard it was great.
Okay.
So
I mean, he's a good actor.
yeah, I wonder what he's up to these days.
I don't know.
I wonder if those are the only two that you can that kind of fictionalize the nonfiction.
There's probably more.
There are narrative versions of like the nonfiction story. Like we could talk about Devil in the White City,
Oh yeah, really good.
which is the Eric Larson book that talks about the Chicago's World Fair, and it compares it to what H.H. Holmes was getting up to at the
That's
time.
cool. I really
such
wanna
a
read
cool
that.
structure.
And that was supposed to have been made into a film with Leonardo DiCaprio starring as H.H. Holmes. And I haven't looked into it lately to see kind of where they are on that production schedule,
Yeah.
but I would have been interested to watch that.
yeah, he's a good actor. Like it's already got a huge following.
Yeah. Yeah. But more digestible for people like me who don't particularly delve into nonfiction if they don't have to.
Yeah,
Because it does tell it in more of a story way.
yeah.
Yeah, I
He's a
like
really
that.
good writer.
He is
that I've
fantastic.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't read a ton of true crime nonfiction. I feel like you kind of have to know what you're looking for because so much of it is not fact checked and
Yeah.
sensationalized.
It's just like theory presented as fact.
Well, when I was in
Yes.
college, we had to read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, which was presented at the time as the true story of that particular crime that was perpetrated. And then later in like the 90s, some of the facts, and I'm using my quotey fingers here, friends, some of the facts were kind of called into question about that, but that was presented as one of the first true crime kind of narrative stories.
Okay. Could he legally hide behind that? By
You know,
saying it's
I
kind of-
didn't delve too deeply into like what they were questioning.
Sure.
I do remember reading that book and it having a kind of a profound impact. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason it's considered a modern classic.
Yeah.
But I think there is maybe also a film version of that.
Yes, starring Philip Seymour Hoffman
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
That's it.
from the Twisters fame.
Yeah,
Twister fame.
yeah, he of Twisters fame.
And the Hunger Games.
And
And
the
Hunger
talented
Games.
Mr. Ripley.
Yes.
Yeah. Great actor.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah, yeah.
This dude was killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse Plemons reminds me of him a lot.
I could definitely see
So, yeah.
that. Kind of like if Philip Seymour Hoffman and Matt Damon had a child.
There you go. Like
be Jesse
talented
Plemons.
Mr. Ripley. That's awesome.
I didn't know that's what that was about.
It's not, but that's what my brain just told me to say out loud.
Look at that.
Sounded like a good idea.
It was very funny.
It was very fun.
That's amazing.
Have you heard of Anne Rule? She's got a ton
Yes.
of
Yeah.
Her big one, which I didn't know anything about it until I read some of it, but it was The Stranger Beside Me, I think.
I think we've talked
That's
about
about Dahmer, right?
Yeah.
No, Ted Bundy. Right.
Yep.
Right.
She was like, I knew him in high school and college, and like we're really close. And here's the inside scoop. And then as it took off, like more and more people were like, you guys like talked one time.
They were fact checking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, this is not true.
Yeah.
Not true
This
at
is
all.
fan fiction.
Yeah.
Very good read,
Yeah.
but
Good writer.
Yeah.
Sure.
Should have presented it as fiction.
Yeah. I don't know what the legal basis is for stuff like that. Can
I
you
don't
just
know
publish
either.
whatever?
Well, I mean,
guess.
these days, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
There is one that was released in very recent memory by Michelle McNamara called "I'll Be Gone in the Dark."
Patton Oswalt's
Yeah,
wife.
Patton Oswalt's wife.
Oh, okay.
And that book had quite the history. She researched for years and years and years, and that was about the Golden State Killer. And she actually passed away 2 years before the book was published. It was
Wow.
about 75% done. So a private investigator and I think maybe like just a regular writer, and then also Patton Oswalt gathered up the rest of her notes and stuff and kind of put the rest of the book in order and kind of gathered what she had already. But 2 months after its publication, there was an arrest made in that case.
Oh, wow.
Now the officers or the law enforcement have said over and over, well, her book didn't really make any, we already
for
knew.
sure. For sure.
But I have found that to be a really interesting story, and I haven't read that book, but there was a lot of buzz around like that whole process and how
Sounds so
after
interesting.
years and years and years, he was mysteriously caught after people got,
Yeah.
law enforcement got a hold of her notes and her investigative findings.
Yeah, it's
So-
crazy how much work she put into it.
Did she have a personal connection to that case? Like, why did she?
I don't know the
choose
answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know
Interesting.
either. I just know that was used as like a big resource. And,
It's crazy.
like explaining all of these missing pieces.
Very intelligent woman.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Put this all together.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she passed away 2 months before it was published.
Yeah.
She died 2 years
2 years.
before
years, okay.
of an
Then-
accidental overdose of prescription
Oh my
medication.
God, that's horrible.
So-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gah.
jeez.
She was 46.
Oh,
So, yeah.
so young.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I don't know why I felt weird. It was like Patton Oswalt and Michelle McNamara were like extremely close, and you could tell that they were just like one of those like power
Couples, yeah.
Yeah. Then he got married like a year after she died.
He said that working on that book and finishing up that book for that last 2 years kind of helped him work through his grief process.
Sure.
And not that I'm making any excuses. I just read that because I think maybe someone questioned him about that, and he said
Yeah.
that he was able to kind of work through it as he was working with her.
Sure.
That's how
It's very
that's how he
personal.
considered
Yeah.
it, working with her.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
So that would
like what that
have
would
to
do
be
to
hard to like
Yeah.
look at their handwriting every day.
That
and
would be. I can see that kind of forcing the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And some people just have a hard time being alone too.
Sure.
I think
They do.
after something like that.
It's a case by case thing. I'm
I would
definitely not
also
judging
think
him.
that in a high stress job like he has in that environment, in that situation, it would be hard to be alone.
Yeah.
I can just like, even myself, like I'm not sure I could handle Hollywood living.
No, I
with
cannot.
a sounding board or
Oh gosh, no way. Yeah.
And a lot of his stand up from like years and years ago was about how he was going to die alone.
Aw.
Just because he was very insecure about himself.
Aw,
It's like that he met
jeez.
like the love of his life.
That's amazing.
Terrible.
It sounds like he was like felt much better about himself, even
yeah,
like,
maybe
after
maybe
he
she
passed
helped
away.
him through that
Yeah.
process
Yeah,
also.
sounds like it. That's a book that I own and I've yet to read, but I know that I would love it.
Sounds really good.
I remember reading in the bathroom when I was 14. Well, my
So
parents had a
specific.
stack of Cosmopolitans next to the commode.
I didn't think that's where that was going.
Is there a lot of true crime in the Cosmopolitan?
Not really. I was
Okay.
looking through them for different reasons. when
Fashion
I was 14.
advice, right?
Yeah.
Fashion
Definitely.
advice.
For sure, for sure.
It's like that Marie Claire.
Mary Claire, yeah.
Yep.
Yep,
A few
yep.
other ones. Can't remember the names of. There's one like 5-page article about the Golden State Killer. And I read that like
weird.
over and over. Because it was, you go from like, here's Rebecca Romaine Stamos and Paint Bikini to he's still on the loose.
Oh my gosh, that's so bizarre to be in
That is
Cosmopolitan.
bizarre.
Yeah, it stuck with me.
Yeah.
I don't even know how old I am now. That was like 15 years ago. 14 years ago.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so I feel like I should probably read the book just to give that Cosmo article some closure.
Bring yourself. I was gonna say, bring yourself some closure.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Close the loop on that.
Yeah, still can't find that magazine.
Oh.
It's behind a screen at the checkout lanes now.
True. Do they even make those anymore?
Children's eyes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. They had to know what was going to happen if they put them there. But learned a lot.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to take an ad break?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We're going to reset and start feeling less sad. Hello there, Chloe.
Hello, Zach.
You enjoying all this true crime talk?
I am.
I think you're really going to enjoy the party that's coming up,
Oh,
or program.
yeah.
You know what Miss Barbara's throwing together?
What's she throwing together?
On September 12th at 4:15 p.m. for 3rd to 6th graders. She's throwing together an adventure club.
Whoa, what's Adventure Club?
They're going to take the Oregon Trail, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the game Oregon Trail?
Oh, yeah.
I think they're like recreating the game.
That's a rough game. For 3rd to 6th graders.
I think they're going to make it like a life-size game. Board
That's-
game type thing. I'm not exactly sure.
That'd be very cool.
It sounds fun.
Yeah. Like, you think they incorporate like diphtheria and stuff?
They've got to.
think
That's
that's
like
most
the
of the fun.
classic part of Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The RNG kills you.
That's right.
So good.
Yeah.
So be there or be too old or too young, I guess.
Yeah. As long as you're between 3rd and 6th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, September 16th through the 20th, all week, we've got the Friends book sale. They'll have some really good prices. We have a ton of books, like more than we have ever had. So, like, please
It's
come
egregious.
get books.
You gotta-
Yes.
please come take them.
Yes.
Got too many.
They'll be downstairs
It's gonna be
by the Friends, and like we have a lot of high school volunteers. It's very cool.
yeah. It's gonna be going on longer than it usually does.
Yeah,
So
a whole week.
So if you miss the first day, it's still gonna be a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And they'll probably keep putting more stuff out as stuff gets bought. Because I
Yeah.
don't think we'll have enough room for everything.
We could fill the entire downstairs
Yeah.
several times
Twice
over.
over. Yeah, at least.
So come on down.
Yeah.
Get a book.
One last thing. I have a correction to make for this episode.
What?
At some point, I think it might be after this ad, I say Emmett Till and I mean Rodney King.
So look out for that
So-
fun little tidbit.
Yeah. Just me saying the wrong name.
Well, thanks for the correction.
Yep.
I'll listen out for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Chloe.
Yep.
Let's get back to true crime.
All right. Sounds good.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Interesting fact that I came upon while doing research for today's episode is that between 70 and 73% of true crimes like audience is women.
That does
Interesting.
not
Why do you
surprise
think
me.
that is, Zach? Just out of curiosity. Like, Is it because men don't want to know the danger around them, or they think they already know what it is?
I think that's probably not super
I shouldn't be asking you
off.
because you aren't one of those like closed-minded people
No.
that.
I'm wearing a Dan Connor shirt
You
today.
are.
I'm
Yeah.
a lumberjack.
You
so
are
I've got the
very
man
lumberjack.
approach.
You don't have like a fragile masculinity
Right.
No.
or toxic masculinity.
That was a
kind
very
of vibe.
good way to put it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you seem
listen.
secure.
I
Yeah.
feel like I am.
And
Yeah.
are very open-minded.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
I can still answer for the group. I feel confident enough.
You sounded
Okay.
really confident that you were in this group.
Definitely. Oh, that's doesn't surprise me, but I don't know why it doesn't
Yeah,
surprise me.
I know. I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I don't want a gender stereotype, but
Yeah.
like women ask more questions.
True.
They
Sure.
want to get more answers, more to the bottom of things.
Or
And maybe that had
communication in
something to do
general.
with it.
Yeah.
I think the vast majority of the crimes discussed in true crime happen against women.
Against women, violence against women, sure.
So I think that's part
Maybe
of it.
so.
Yeah.
We feel
That makes sense to me.
like we need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
feel more paranoid. Well, maybe not paranoid. It's not really paranoia if you are the ones.
It's preparation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And can identify with the stories a little more, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
It's really hard to talk about without reducing it to gender stereotypes.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like men like westerns and women like the Lifetime channel.
It is a lot of interpersonal
It is
stuff.
almost Hallmark movie season,
a little
Chloe.
bit. Oh no!
So
Don't tell
good.
my mother. the hide the remote.
Oh god. And you have to watch them too, don't you?
I don't know.
Okay. That's
Like,
fair.
yes.
That's a hard yes.
I tried not to. It's sad if no one watches it with her.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Is that about what you were thinking?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems accurate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know what my first exposure to true crime was. Oh, I know. I was like 7. I still think back to these periods. I don't know. I'm not repressing anything at all.
Okay, definitely.
There are a bunch of occasions where my parents would have extended family over to play pinochle. And nobody would teach me. 'Cause they were like, you're 7.
It's a pretty
Go
complicated
upstairs.
game, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they would tell me. And I'd be like, I played Mario.
It would blow their minds.
Yeah. You asked me how to hook up the TV. So there we go. I remember I would always be the cordoned off in my room. Be like, just hang out, read books, go to bed. One time I had to go downstairs because I was like, I need a bowl of spaghetti or something, whatever I ate. And there was a moment on the TV, I remember, because it stuck with me for a very long time, that it was like scissors cutting up a woman's back.
Oh,
It's like
Lordy.
Oh, God.
I think it was like in a morgue or something.
Oh, it was like an autopsy.
Yeah, I think so.
That's still traumatizing.
A little
It
bit.
wasn't Buffalo Bill.
Oh, God.
Because that's immediately what came to mind.
I found out years later, yes, it was Silence of the Lambs.
Was
Not
it
true
really?
crime.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay.
You called it?
You did call it. Because I remember, like, I was a teenager and I was watching it for the first time and I was like, this is...
This is it.
familiar, yeah.
I thought everybody in my family were like cannibals for so long. Like, what are they watching?
Oh, no.
It's just weird. And it haunts you.
Yeah. Yeah.
time you see something like that.
movie, like even into my adulthood, that movie is like the one that stands out to me. Like, this is horrific.
Yeah. Oh,
And I enjoyed it. It's a fantastic film. Don't get
is.
me wrong, but that was the one that like stuck with me and will until the day I die.
Oh,
Sam, very cerebral.
Yeah.
I think that's why
Yes.
it worked so well.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like graphic,
Yep.
but
My first experience with true crime that I remember vividly is the John Benet Ramsey case.
Oh, yeah, that
That's the
makes
first
sense.
one I remember, followed closely by OJ.
I was waiting for OJ to
So-
come. I thought yours might be OJ's.
I've got
I
very
remember
specific memories
sitting
of
in our living room watching the chase.
That's crazy. True crime in like real time.
Yeah.
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 Hey.
Yeah.
It's true. I remember, well, I think I've even said this, one of the first times I went to the office that year with a stomach ache. One of the women at the reception desk in my school, they're like, OJ's innocent. And I remember thinking like, oh, my dad's going to be angry. That's all I thought.
Ooh.
There's a lot of vitriol going around my household
Yeah.
at that time.
Amazon Prime has a really good series about the
Yes.
OJ case and like puts it in a lot of like context, like with like Emmett Till and stuff that was going on at the same time. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Is that the multi-parter?
It's like a limited series. It's like 8 episodes maybe.
Okay. Super good, because they don't even talk about the crime the entire first episode.
Yeah, it's just like background on OJ.
Yeah.
And like who he was kind of culturally, and then Nicole and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really well done, because by the end of the first episode, if that's all you watched, you'd be like, love OJ.
What a cool guy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
This
He
is why
tries so many things.
He does. He's
He
the
sold
face
luggage.
of Hertz. Yeah. And you could see why. He was like funny. and
He's
he was
charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even like in the court cases, he was like cute and funny and
Which
charming.
is
and,
so scary.
It
It
is
is scary.
terrifying.
He's not innocent.
No.
Oh,
hard to reconcile the two people.
very scary.
People are weird.
Yes.
And how many years has it been since John Benet Ramsey?
I'm not sure.
And people are still obsessed with that
Yeah.
case and
Yeah.
like actively working on it. And that is interesting as well. Like, what is it about that one case that we can't let go of?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Because it's not the only cold case out there.
No.
But
No.
why is that the one that?
I feel like there's so many weird details. Like her parents putting her in these pageants and stuff is already like a weird detail.
Yeah. She seemed so
then-
happy.
Yeah. And then you kind of dig and it's like, ooh.
Yeah. So I think that
Wasn't the
was
best.
about 20 years ago.
Ish.
Like mid 90s.
Yeah.
Like early to mid. I
It's like 30 years ago.
well. Okay.
Oh my word! It wasn't it?
I don't like
As I shrink
20
lower
years
Don't
ago,
like
my
that.
seat.
Oh,
4
don't.
years
Oh
old.
my word!
graduated,
This is before I was born.
finished high school 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Arr.
So sorry.
Well, before moving out here, I wasn't sure how big of a case the Jean Benet Ramsey was, just because I grew up like an hour from where it happened.
So much stuugh happened around where you lived
I
in
know.
Oh,
Colorado.
it's just her,
crazy.
Columbine, the Aurora shooting,
It's wild.
It's scary.
the Kobe.
Aw, it's
no.
his birthday today.
Why do you know?
Okay.
I just do.
That's fair.
Lots of useless information floating
That's
around
so
in this
funny.
dome.
I'm glad you shared it.
Me too. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's not nice to know that it's so widespread, but
Yeah.
it's hard to gauge like to what degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I lived like 2 minutes from her house.
That's insane.
I was gonna say would drive by it all the time,
That's
but it was only
scary.
because it was on my way to work.
Oh, that makes sense.
Wasn't weird.
Okay,
Wasn't nefarious.
you say so.
Gorgeous house, huge.
That makes sense because they were wealthy.
Yeah. It was like one of the richer areas of Boulder, which is saying a lot because it's Boulder and it's all rich.
Yeah.
But I guess that was another reason why it was like such a shock. It's like they were very affluent.
Yeah, and that's not like the picture of crime that
No,
we have.
not at all.
Yeah, which is interesting because a lot of the worst crimes are wealthy people
Yeah.
or else people in very desperate situations.
Menendez brothers. John.
Aaron Hernandez, whose house I drove by a couple weeks ago because we were driving to New Jersey from Maine, and my husband's like, "Hey, this is like 10 minutes off the highway. Let's go past it. I want to see it."
Might as well
Yeah.
break up
All
the
right.
trip.
Lovely house. Doesn't look like a murder house, but hey.
No.
That's good. Yeah.
Cold air. Crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
And then that CNN interview with her brother, Jean Benet. People are like, he's weird and he did it. And once
I haven't
again,
seen that.
mob mentality.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it was presented, kind of made him seem like, and I think he's very neurodivergent.
Sure.
And so less egregious than the making a murder, but you could tell that was the angle.
Yeah.
Sure.
People will read into anything, and editing is very powerful.
Yes. And people will do anything for closure when it
Yes.
comes to something like
that's
that.
true.
Yeah.
So,
And also, people like drama. So if they can make the story more dramatic, they're going to make the story more dramatic.
yes. Good news, good journalism. But if you're just reporting like a Associated Press, nobody's going to watch it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
It's just stripped down.
Here are the facts. This is what you need to know.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how I feel.
Honestly.
Brain's full as it is. All that wax in there.
Yeah.
Knowledge wax.
Knowledge wax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of podcasts I really like that are like limited series, which is my favorite.
Oh, same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not ongoing. It's
Yes.
just okay. All right.
I like
no,
being
that's
able to be
good.
done.
Yeah. Yeah.
One is called Through the Cracks. It's hosted by Jonquilyn Hill, and it's about the disappearance of Relisha Rudd, who's a second grader in D.C. And the like official stance was that nothing could have been done to have prevented her from going missing, and they do not know who did it. And
Interesting.
she's kind of questioning that like idea that there was nothing that could have been done to have protected her.
What a bold statement.
Yeah, she and her family were unhoused for a time and kind of floating around a lot. So they tried to just be like, well, she was in a bad situation. But
Interesting.
there was not much.
What was the timeline on that?
This was not that long ago. It was like
Okay.
2000. I didn't write down. Oh, I did. 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the investigation was like very half-hearted. Like they did not try to find her very hard, and it's very sad that
It was very
like
sad.
her family just doesn't get any answers. But it's a very good podcast. Very
Seems like
well
it would
done
be.
journalism.
Yeah, I do like the limited run podcasts. They don't beat it into the ground.
Same, and it doesn't feel as gross if they don't have to like. They're like, okay, this is a crime that I'm passionate about, like
Sure.
finding justice for, instead of like, let me find a crime every week.
Yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
find another one. Let's go find another one.
What other
Sure.
horrifying thing happened?
Yeah.
It's kind of
yeah.
Serial's problem. Like the first season was phenomenal, and then they're like, "So what are you gonna do next year, Sarah?"
It's just like, I don't know, come up with something.
The Americans on Iraq,
Oh,
or the Iraq War.
that's good.
It's like interesting, but like
That is interesting.
such a huge pivot from a very isolated case from the
Yeah.
90s where a guy kills his girlfriend, or at least allegedly killed his
Sure.
girlfriend. But
I
yeah,
didn't know that's what she pivoted to. That's really interesting.
yeah, every season is totally different.
Okay, maybe I'll listen to season 1.
You'd like it.
I bet I would. The other one is Root of Evil, the true story of the Hodel family and the Black Dahlia.
Oh.
Yeah, it is very graphic, I will warn. But it's very good, and it's hosted by two sisters, Rasha Pecoraro and Yvette Gentile, and they are great-granddaughters of George Hodel,
Okay.
who was probably the person who killed the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short. And it's really, really good. It's like a lot of interviews with the family and like their mom and their siblings, and a lot of the police work that has like happened in the years since like the initial investigation happened was done by George Hodel's son. And like he just like was on this like mission to be like, my dad killed her and I know he did.
God.
And it's fascinating hearing him, because he's a police officer, hearing him talk about it, and then like just this whole family is just really messed up.
Interesting.
Really dark, but very, very good.
Yeah, bad guy.
Very bad man.
Listen to the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, forgot it existed until right now. It's like, what else have I forgotten
You should go back
that
to
I was
it.
in the middle of?
Like by the last episode is just like a lot of the family together for the first time in ever, and they're just like sobbing together.
Oh, my.
Like hashing out all this stuff, and it's really good.
The pictures of the Black Dahlia murder,
Gruesome.
not good.
No.
Disturbing.
Up there with Jack the Ripper,
Sure.
Yeah.
his last victim. They posted a picture. It was like, oh,
I've never seen that.
can't even recognize it as a
Human
person.
being.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hopefully they catch the guy.
George Hodel.
Jack
Or Jack the Ripper.
Oh, that makes sense.
Time is running out.
Yeah.
First 48 hours is when you gotta catch him.
That's a good show.
It's a good show. It's a good
I
show.
like that show.
I listened to a podcast, the True Crime. It was a very hard listen. It was one season called Hunting Warhead. And the Warhead is the username of a guy that on the deep web. It was like a big distributor of like, they call Hurtcore,
Oof.
which don't need to get into
Yeah.
the details, but
Use your imagination,
Yeah.
people.
yeah, or don't.
Yeah, or don't. Yeah, even better.
Yeah, on the younger side. And so the podcast host was like interviewing him in jail, and like it's weird hearing this guy like talk. He's like a 23-year-old kid who's just like a nerd, and he speaks in memes. He thinks that he's getting to be good friends with the podcast host, and
Oh.
like the podcast, he's just like falling apart like emotionally. He's like, this is disgusting.
That
But,
is
like,
disturbing.
yeah, kind of an insane 8-episode ride.
That's a crazy way to do a podcast.
It is. Yeah, no kidding.
Well, terrible.
I wouldn't want to be that close to the subject.
Yeah.
No, not at all. The fact that he's just like joking around, it's very, very unnerving, but a phenomenal podcast.
Yeah, I want to listen to that. That sounds horrifying.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Listened to that when we were closed for COVID. And I was
Nice.
just wandering the stacks and making things look fine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Weird years.
Those were weird years.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like it happened, but here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're past it, mostly, more or less.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, sure.
We're fine.
There is one true crime podcast that I really like.
Yeah?
It's called Only Murders in the Building.
It's a podcast?
Season 4 comes out next week.
Oh, Steve Martin Shorts.
Yes.
But
Selena Gomez.
interesting. I mean, adjacent to our conversation here, it is a TV show based on. The premise is there are 3 people who have a true crime podcast, and they kind of stumble into having a true crime podcast because they're involved in a true crime. So
That's awesome.
Such a clever.
it
Clever premise.
really
Really cool.
is. Yeah, and kind of being lighthearted about some of the horrors that come along with being a true crime fan.
Yeah.
And
They handle it pretty delicately.
they do,
good.
and that's about as close as I'm going to get to actually listening
crime.
to a true crime
That's fair.
podcast. Although the Black Dahlia one sounds
It's
interesting to me.
fascinating. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Also rough.
Very rough. Not one for the kids.
Sure.
What's your favorite kids?
That's fair. None.
True crime
You
podcast.
shouldn't listen to any of them, probably.
Blues Clues, is that a podcast?
Yeah, they solve mystery.
Yeah.
Kind
They
of.
do. Find the
Yeah.
clues.
Yeah.
A clue.
Let's figure out email. Email.
I did think of one more. That's a lighter one. There's
Okay.
no murders so far. It's a new podcast. It's called Weird Little Guys. And they're talking. She breaks down like crimes and stuff that happened, but there's no murder or anything like that so far. It's like a lot of neo-Nazis. And like talked about the Charlottesville riots a little bit. Stuff like that. Really interesting. She's very funny and like super deep dive, and I like that.
Who is it?
Can't remember her name.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sounds apt title.
Yeah. Weird Little Guys.
Oh, that sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, it's very
Sounds
good.
fun.
There's only 3 episodes out, and I think maybe all of them have been about neo-Nazis. So depressing. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but very relevant. So
I need to listen to a podcast that's not Knowledge Fighter Behind the Bastards for a little while.
so good. And Weird Little Guys is produced by the same company as Behind the Bastards.
Oh, interesting. Fun. Yeah,
It's like a modern version of Behind the Bastards.
interesting.
Kind of.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Knowledge Fight is just 100% about Alex Jones. It's just 2 guys that listen to every Alex Jones episode and break it down and why it's like problematic and wrong.
Fact checking, which
Yep.
is very time consuming.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Now that Alex Jones is, completely fallen, how relevant is something like that?
He still has way more power than he should.
Does he?
He has
Feels
a pretty large
Okay.
following.
He does.
Still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He
Yeah.
pushes the narrative that he's like bankrupt. He's like, how am I going to give him money? I don't have any money.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like-
got money.
He was
He's
just,
fine.
Yeah, they just spotted him in like Cancun, like drinking
Yeah.
heavily.
A couple episodes ago, he said that 3 people in 1 week handed him a $100 bill in
Yep.
a restaurant.
because they feel
happen.
bad for him and they
Because
think
they
he's
love
broke.
him. They think he's fighting the good fight. I don't know.
He was
It's not true.
no.
So-
no. He went out 3 different days with 3 different children of his. He's like, I swear to God, somebody just came up and gave me a $100 bill every single time,
3 times
3 times
in a week.
in a week. It's a lot of restauranting.
It is. For
But
someone who has no
Interesting.
money.
For someone who's broke. He's not at home eating ramen.
Oh, man.
That's why they gave him money.
He's struggling.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
he is, but with his physical health, really, he's not doing well. So it's kind of, you guys got any more to true crime recommendations?
I'm out.
I don't think so.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll think of something later.
Probably.
If you guys think of something, put it in our the Facebook
Yeah.
comment
comments.
section. Yeah, TikTok.
Yeah.
Sure.
Chloe has done something really neat in the library as well, and that she has started putting together a display highlighted by books from the genre
Yes.
or section that we talked about in the podcast.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
so if you're interested in any of that type of stuff, come on in and check it out.
Yep. I'll update it weekly as we post.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll have some gross ones out there this week.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, right now it's Found Family. It's so
Yeah,
cozy.
it's a fun one.
Yes.
Upbeat.
Right before Lost Family.
That's so sad. We got MacGuffin in between.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they said.
Oh.
Yeah, it was weird having MacGuffin in between.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your artwork for MacGuffin.
I'm working on it. I
Is
just
it going
have
to be McGruff the Crime Dog?
I don't know what
Just
that
gonna
is.
say the same thing.
Amazing.
Take a bite out of crime. Maybe he should be on this one.
Maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. I'll have to figure out who that is, but yeah.
What? Oh dear.
He's a crime dog.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
just like
he wears a
police
trench coat.
dog propaganda?
does.
He wears a trench coat.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
I like
that's
a dog in a trench
Or
coat.
take a bite out of crime.
That sounds adorable.
Very 90s,
Yep.
like late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police dogs are not good.
Okay.
They die in hot cars. That's the number one way police dogs die.
Really?
Is in a hot
horrible.
car. Yeah, they get left in hot cars way more than anything else that happens to them.
Oh, boo.
That's not, I'm so sorry.
Bad.
No.
It is bad.
They get like retirement parties and stuff.
Yeah.
You'd think they would take care of them.
No, it is not good to be a police dog.
Oh,
It is just severe trauma 24/7. That's how they
Yeah.
train them.
that's fair.
It's the I
mean,
don't think it should
it's
be
not
allowed
fair.
to be
It
They're
honest.
not
makes
therapy
sense.
dogs.
No, they're
No.
not. Therapy dogs is a wonderful thing for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Police
But
dogs, yeah.
Wow,
we
that-
have to get into it.
What a bummer way
sorry.
to end
Yeah.
this fun, hilarious
I'm so
podcast.
sorry.
Who do you think he'll jump? to send it out, I started putting together the true crime headlines that I thought were interesting.
Okay.
Turns out they're
Oh.
mostly just really depressing. So I scrapped it.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So what do you have
A
instead?
little bit lighter. I've got my favorite last words before lethal injection or whatever execution.
Okay.
Very famous
Consequences
serial
of your true crime.
Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
There
All
you go.
right.
killers. And
Do we-
just because I thought it would be a fun little treat, I put in their last meal as well.
Oh,
Okay.
hey.
We should have to guess. Or
It's concerning that this is public record, but
yeah,
whatever.
it's
Oh,
crazy.
Well, there's a whole
It gives them a lot of
database out there with
power.
like
Yeah.
thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know it's going to be publicized.
Yep.
It gives
Yep.
you a lot
Yep.
of power.
A lot of them don't have anything good to say.
That makes sense.
So I guess I'll say the last words. You can guess the
Sure.
criminal.
So
Sure.
these are famous criminals. Then.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
familiar
Like, we'll
with
know.
3 of them.
Okay, we're not
Okay.
going to be able to guess them. When we get to it.
You can guess their last meals.
Sure.
Okay, sure.
So this one, I'll just say the name. It's Thomas Joseph Grasso from 1995.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He was executed for the murders of 2 elderly individuals.
Oh,
And so, by far the best last words. I don't want to give him any credit.
oh gosh.
But he said, I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this.
Oh, hey.
So he
Priorities,
asked for
man.
Yeah, honestly.
SpaghettiOs to be his last meal, and they gave him spaghetti. That's surprising.
Really?
Oh, I'm confused.
So his last meal, beggars can apparently be choosers. He got 2 dozen steamed mussels,
oh,
2 dozen steamed clams with a lemon wedge.
just one.
Yep,
Okay,
just one spread between all of them.
that's disgusting. So
A
far.
Burger King double cheeseburger,
Okay.
not even close to being done. Half a dozen barbecued spare ribs, 2 strawberry milkshakes, half
Oh my
a
God.
pumpkin pie with whipped cream, diced strawberries, and a can of SpaghettiOs, which he famously complained was replaced with spaghetti. But it was a can of SpaghettiOs. They just weren't up to his
Chef
standards.
Boyardee does
Interesting.
make canned spaghetti.
That
So
might
maybe
have been
that's
what
what
they gave him.
him.
Yeah.
just a
like-
little mishap. I mean,
Poor
wow.
guy.
Yeah.
Yep, terrible.
guess.
I guess that's the last thing that they're supposed to do for you.
Yeah, and they screwed it up, I guess. I guess if you know that you're gonna die very soon, you might as well eat as much as possible because you're
Yes.
not gonna feel the terrible feeling of eating way too much
That's
true.
what I
food.
was going to
It's true.
say. Well,
I guess I
still
don't
kind
know
of
how
feel that in
long.
the immediate.
Yeah,
Right. You could pace yourself.
Could.
Maybe you
Drag
have
like
it out.
15
have
minutes.
Yeah.
some hours to eat it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then hopefully my heart will give out before they
there you
Yeah.
go.
get me.
just order something you're allergic to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you've never been able to eat before because
Yeah.
you know it'll. Yeah.
You'll feel terrible.
I don't know if that's better.
Yeah, because most like food allergies aren't very fast acting.
True.
So you'll
Just
probably just
slowly
feel
suffocate.
awful for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. This next one, we all know who they are. We talked about this person earlier. Great last words. Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with The Rock. And they're talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm sailing with The Rock, and I'll be back. Like Independence Day with Jesus. June 6th, like the movie, big mothership and all. I'll be back. I'll be back.
It's like a Terminator quote too
Yep.
at the end.
Oh, yeah. She loved movies.
Eileen Wuornos.
Yep.
Interesting. That's confusing.
Also, we didn't really talk about Monster,
No.
which was the
Oh,
Eileen
yeah.
Wuornos
Yeah.
movie with Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Great film.
I've heard it's good.
Very good. What would you think was her last meal?
She was Southern, right?
Yep.
Maybe like some Southern comfort food,
Oh.
biscuits, mac and cheese,
That sounds good.
Fried chicken.
gravy. Yeah.
What else do they have down there? Gumbo.
Grits, yeah, gumbo.
What'd she pick?
Lots of stuff I don't like.
Yeah, it's all
Because
heavy
it's
and
lots of
greasy.
Heavy.
seafood
Oh.
too.
Yeah, I don't like seafood.
A cup of coffee.
That's all she wanted.
It?
Yep. She did not
Did
want
it
a
have
special
cream
meal.
or sugar?
It said simple cup of coffee. So I'm guessing
Interesting.
nothing.
That's
Weird.
bizarre.
She wanted it hard, I guess.
Apparently.
That's fine. So, number 3, I don't know who he is.
Okay.
And I'll say his name because the last words won't make sense if I don't. Name is James French.
Okay.
He was executed in 1966. Killed a fellow inmate to compel the state to execute him.
Oh wow.
I'm guessing he wanted to be executed so we could use
sound-
this pun.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
All right.
Is that a
all
good
right.
reason to take a life? No.
Like, gotta respect it.
No.
Or don't.
I do not.
Gotta acknowledge it.
I'll acknowledge it.
His name is James French. Last words. How about this for a headline? French fries.
I've heard this before. Was he actually
He had the electric chair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. That's funny.
They don't
Oh,
even have on
yay,
record
yay.
what his last meal was. They're just
French
like,
fries.
it wasn't that.
That was before.
It said it was not
before
interesting.
they or toast.
There you go.
Said French reportedly did not have any unusual last meal request.
Oh, it was probably just like
Oh.
steak.
Yeah, he wanted
Yeah,
to keep
potato.
He wanted to keep it on his wordplay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing.
We got Robert Charles Towery, who died in 2012.
Oh, I don't think I know who that is.
I don't either. I didn't write down what he did. Something not good, probably.
Crime.
His last words were potato, potato, potato.
Did he have potatoes?
Nope.
What do you have?
Apparently, and I guess you would have to hear how he said it because he said it because it made his nephew think of the sound of a motorcycle. So it was like kind of his like secret message,
Whoa.
like
What was his
I'll
last
be
name?
watching. His last name was Towery, Towery. Robert Charles.
So he was trying to make his nephew think of motorcycles by saying potato?
Yeah, I guess that's how he like imitated the sound of a motorcycle.
Potato. Like, how do you do
Potato,
that?
potato. It just sounds
Doesn't
like
sound like
the
I wish there was
Billy
a
Bob
tape.
Thornton and Sling Blade.
Robbery and murder of one person
Okay.
Interesting.
Oof.
in Arizona.
Oh,
They don't mess around down there
Apparently
in
not.
the mesa.
they sure do not. They got a porterhouse steak.
Oh,
Nothing.
okay. Pretty
Yeah.
standard. Pretty standard.
Yep. John Spinkelink.
Okay.
Spenkelink. 1979. So, this one, I read something about what he did. He like killed his partner in crime or something.
Oh.
His last words, kind of poetic. Capital punishment means those without capital get the punishment.
Yeah, I guess so.
He had a ton of whiskey for his last.
That's not too, like, that's kind of smart.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But he also did something terrible
Yeah.
Right.
that he got
Right.
punished for doing.
Right. I know, like personal choices, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Doesn't matter how much money you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can stand on your high horse for the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like you didn't actually do it.
Right.
So-
You're
Right.
not being falsely accused, it doesn't sound like.
No. Here's got a couple to end it out on. We know who they are. At least I'm assuming. He was a big player down, like If you were playing on a basketball team, you would be playing on the Thunder.
What?
So it's Dahmer or Bundy?
Nope.
No, I'm confused
Don't
then.
get this, yeah.
He bombed.
Oh, yeah, Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah.
I see.
He didn't
That
say.
was
Well,
Crazy. Crazy thing to
Would be
say.
playing on the Thunder.
he didn't have any last words, but he
Oh,
wrote.
surprising.
Yeah, he left a handwritten statement quoting Invictus. I'm the
Oh.
master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul.
That sounds like
My
something
soul
you
or
would
my
quote.
ship? Isn't it ship?
Should be. I don't know.
He
Captain
quoted
of
it
my
wrong.
fate, the master of my ship.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Somebody let him know.
What was
he-
his last meal?
Then he's like, give me 2 pints of mint chocolate ice cream.
Oh, I like mint chocolate.
Me too. You and Timothy McVeigh have a lot in
No,
common.
no.
They have one thing
Yeah,
in common.
one
That's
thing.
true.
Who
Can't think of
she
anything
also
else.
has in common with many, many other characters.
That's fair. Probably a lot of serial killers because it's just
Yeah.
delicious.
It is delicious.
Here's one of the most infamous the specters that is no longer amongst us. I'd like to give my love to my friends and family. And please don't let Zac Efron play me in a biopic.
Ted Bundy.
Yep.
I never saw it.
I didn't either.
It was a weird casting. Well, it like makes sense because he's supposed to be attractive. A lot of serial killers are
Yeah.
attractive.
Yeah.
But I also was like, that's my High School Musical friend. I was like, take him out of there.
He's older now.
Yeah, I know.
He is
but, like,
older.
Yeah.
it just felt wrong.
Yeah, he played. Wow.
Well,
He's running
like
the
Evan
gamut.
Peters keeps getting
Yes.
like rolled into those horrid roles where
And him, it makes
Yeah.
sense to me because I'm like, you're my American Horror Story guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he played Matthew Perry as a younger man in a movie and Ted Bundy.
Wow.
17 again.
Didn't know that.
Yep.
What were his last? Oh, you said it.
What were Matthew Perry's last words?
No. Ted Bundy.
No idea.
But you said it. What was his last
We
one?
could talk about Matthew Perry right now because
true.
also
Good.
true crime.
Yeah, they're in jail.
Gosh.
Apparently, one of the guys that sold him the drugs made a really weird movie in like 1992.
Oh,
It's like a sci-fi film.
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Bizarre stuff.
Let's
Yeah.
not watch it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'd like you to give my love to my friends and family.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What was his last meal?
He had steak, eggs, hash browns, and coffee.
Okay. Standard.
Yeah.
Pretty
Still
standard.
watching his figure at the end there. I guess. So weird.
It's weird to me to have like your last words be so like nice after all of that. But I don't know. I guess he still cared about his family and friends.
I guess. Or he was
But did
just,
they
Yeah, very
still
good
care about
question.
him is the question.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that would be
think so.
tough.
It would be tough.
Yeah.
Like you think about that and you try to put yourself in their shoes in a situation like that, and it's unfathomable to
Honestly, because I
Yeah.
can't imagine any of my family
No.
or friends doing that.
me. Right.
The I forget her name, but Dylan Klebold's mom from the Columbine shooters had written a book just about like the process and people egging her house and calling her a monster for still saying I love my son.
That's
It's like,
horrible.
Yeah.
like she didn't know he was a monster until the last day of his life.
Right. And
Yeah.
that still doesn't change. Like
Yeah,
you
it doesn't
can't
erase
change
everything.
the feelings that you felt through the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she,
So
I
yeah.
don't judge her for that at all.
No.
no, not in the
I
slightest.
don't. Yeah, you can't just turn that off.
Yeah.
That's
Just
awful.
rough stuff.
That is not fair to her at all.
Chloe, say a joke to take us off. Can't end on this note.
I don't have any jokes.
Say a pun. What would your last words be? Thought exercise.
Did I kill somebody?
Was that change?
Probably.
What else do you get the death penalty
I
for?
don't know. But
Racketeering?
no.
Aside from like espionage or
Fair. Yeah.
Treason.
Yeah.
right that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's say you got
I got high
slapped
treason.
with a treason.
What did I do?
I don't know.
I don't know. I
Tell
don't
my
know what
story
last words would be.
and don't make my mistakes.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
something like that.
Don't
I didn't do it.
don't rub elbows with the Soviets.
Wouldn't dream of it.
No, couldn't do it.
Too much defenestration over there. I just like saying that word.
That's a good word.
It's a really fun word to say.
I would quote all of Wild Wild West by Will Smith
Oh
in
my
its entirety.
gosh. That's I believe
And
it.
then you would deserve it.
Well, that's fair. My last meal would be the antidote. Can't say no.
Can't say no.
It smelled like I ordered SpaghettiOs. Well,
That's a good note to
Yeah.
end it on.
yeah. What about you, Brittany? What was your last words?
I already said them.
Did you? Oh,
Don't make
yeah.
my mistakes.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
Very good. Okay. Okay. I thought that was going to be the applause.
Oh, this feels appropriate.
It does. I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, friends who are listening, shoot us a rating and like and share. And if you have comments, we'll have a Facebook post, and you can leave us comments on the Facebook post. And we promise next week we'll be more upbeat. I don't know what it'll be yet,
It'll
but
be nice,
it'll
though.
be
Yeah.
it'll be upbeat.
Yes.
we'll try to find the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Be nice and.
We already did the
Cash.
romance one.
We did.
We did. Is romance the opposite of true crime?
I don't know. What do you think?
know.
I
There's
don't want
probably
to
a lot
do
of
legal.
overlap.
Yeah. One leads to the other
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah. Crimes of passion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That'll be our next episode. Just a nice seed into whatever the next one is.
Oh, it's just gonna get worse and worse.
Oh, yeah. Well,
All right.
thanks for joining us.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.